Words cannot describe how much of a faff changing my filming setup has been. Oh, I hope this works so badly. If it doesn't, I'm gonna cry. Oh god. Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Clary and I post bookish and writing content every Sunday and every other Tuesday. It is so great to see you. So September, huh? How long do you reckon that lasted? 48 hours at most? What a month. I swear to god it was August yesterday. I'm not complaining. I love the autumn and I'm not a big fan of the summer. And I'm also not complaining because I read some great books this month. In fact, I read some of the best books I read all year this month. And you know what? They were so great that I don't really want to hang around too much. I just kind of want to dive in and get to talking about them, especially because I don't want to edit a 45-minute long video. So what I've done is I've split these books into genres. So go through quickly, have a chat, give you my ratings, tell you my favourite book in which each genre that I read this month. Let's just go. Okay, let's just start with the pile that's closest to me. Okay, so this month I read 3 adult contemporary books. I read Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng, and I read Kylie Reid's Such a Fun Age, and I also read Exciting Times by Nisha Dolan, but I have that on my Kindle, so I'll get to that in a second. So Little Fires Everywhere, obviously you're going to have heard of. There's an Amazon Prime show. It's got Reese Witherspoon in it. How can you not have heard of something which has Reese Witherspoon in it? I hadn't read any... Come on, Claire. I hadn't read any Celeste Ng before, and I think, should I say, I felt like I would probably enjoy the book, but I didn't feel like I would have a deep connection to it. But I was completely wrong. I read this on my week off for my anniversary, and I absolutely raced through it and I couldn't stop thinking about it, I couldn't stop talking about it. Actually, the reason that I picked up this book, like I said like 100 times, there's an Amazon Prime show which I am probably not going to watch, but my mum loves like watching things like that, but she doesn't have a lot of time to read, so I thought that I could read the book, she could watch the show, and we could, you know, it'll be something nice that we can do together and we can like have a chat about. If you need a quick breakdown of it, which I mean I feel like I'm the last person to read this book, but just in case. The book is set in Shaker Heights, a really perfectionist, appearance-focused neighbourhood, and a kind of woman who kind of embodies that neighbourhood, named Elena, rents a house, an apartment that she owns, to a single mother and her daughter, Mia and Pearl, and all the families become really involved in each other's lives, like too involved in each other's lives, and a lot of very dramatic things happen, and the end result of which is that Elena's house is burnt down. And at the beginning you know that that's happened, you know that the house has been burned down, but you don't know by who, and so the rest of the novel is kind of working backwards or forward, working towards that point. I loved it. Also, I would give it 5 stars. Great book. And then I also read Kylie Reid's Such a Fun Age. I talked about this a little bit in my haul, I think. Yeah, I talked about this in my end of summer haul, which I'll leave a little bar to here somewhere. This is a book that's kind of been talked a lot about in kind of book communities, especially book Twitter. It's kind of garnered a bit of notoriety, maybe because of like reasons that are not fair to the book or Kylie Reid. Don't want to say I picked up the book because of all the drama, but it definitely did bring it to my attention. I'm really glad it did though. The book is about a babysitter named Amira who has an altercation in a grocery store late at night with a security guard, because she is there with the white child that she looks after, and she is a black woman, and the security guard assumes that Amira has kidnapped her little charge. And the book unravels from there, and it's about Amira's life and Amira's boss and being a young black woman in the States and trying to navigate your future. I loved this book as a person who's trying to navigate racist issues in the best, most useful, most actually, helpful and good way possible, mortifying the, some of the mistakes that people make in this book, white people make in this book. But it is incredible. It's an incredible read. It's a really tense read. Kylie Reid has this knack for like nailing character, for like really getting right into like archetypes and stereotypes and like people that we see so often in our society, and like really like giving them depth and nuance, but like absolutely like splintering them as well and getting to the core of them. This was another 5-star read for me, I've got to say. Yeah, and then the third adult contemporary I read was Exciting Times by Nisha Dolan. It came out, I wouldn't say in the spring it came out, and whenever it came out, I started it then, and I didn't finish it then. I DNF'd it, not for any particular reason. I was enjoying the book. I just got busy. I was finishing drafting and things like that. So to start with, it's a book that gets compared to Sally Rooney's work a lot because they're both Irish, and it also falls under, as Sally Rooney books do for me, my books, which I kind of call my books about terrible people doing terrible things to each other, which I love anyway. It's about a young Irish woman named Ava who's working as an ESL teacher in Hong Kong, and she becomes romantically entangled with a kind of very emotionally gold-stunted man named Julian, and then also with a lovely, lovely girl named Edith. And I feel really conflicted about this book because I loved reading it. I loved the style of it. It's beautifully written, and there's so many things in it that just like really got to me, and Ava's exploration of her bisexuality really got to me. But then again, it just, without giving any spoilers away, it just ended. For me, it needed to be maybe 50 pages longer because it really did just end. I'm not someone who needs books to like be completely wrapped up, but the ending really knocked some stars off for me. So for me, it's probably a 3.5 star, 4 star, 3.5 star. I feel a lot of love for this book. It did really annoy me, and like I'm gonna reread it, but it did really annoy me. A 3 3/4 star, maybe? So those were the 3 adult contemporary books I read, and even though I gave 2 of these books 5 stars, I would say that of the 3 of them, my favourite by far was Such a Fun Age. This is a book that I'm just going to be throwing, I don't care that it's a hardback, throwing at everyone. I really, if you haven't read it, you know what I'm going to say. I read 2 young adult contemporary books this month, and I adored them both. I read You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson and Camp by Elsie Rosen. I talked about them both in my haul. But for like a quick refresher, You Should See Me in a Crown it's all about the main character Liz, who is a very, very studious, musical, young black girl who doesn't get the scholarship that she wanted to go to her dream college, and where did my brain go? And so decides to pursue her school's, I'm so sorry, my words today are just not, I'm not doing my big words, as my friend would say. She decides to pursue the scholarship that her school gives to the prom king or queen, even though she's not a very popular student, and kind of hilarity ensues. She's a beautiful romance with another girl. And then Camp is about, it's set in a queer summer camp, and the main character Randy has decided this summer is his summer to pursue the boy he's had a crush on for years. The only problem is that boy is very masked and tends to prefer other boys who are more masked, and that's not Randy at all. So Randy decides he's going to not do theatre, which is his big passion. He's not gonna kind of wear the clothes that he likes or do the things that he likes. He's gonna win over Hudson, his crush, for being exactly what he wants. They both kind of dug more into issues than I was expecting, and more into issues that I wasn't expecting. So You Should See Me in a Crown, like mild spoilers, but like no details. It talks about grief in a way that I was not at all expecting, and really beautifully. And I don't want to give spoilers, so I won't, but there's a quote in this book that had me absolutely in floods of tears, because it really nailed something that I think a lot and something that I think about a lot, and so that was really meaningful for me. I'm actually like, I need to move on now because I can't. And then camp. I was so excited to read camp because the kind of like beauty standards and expectations in like the queer community is a topic that I'm really interested in. It means a lot to me, has like really affected people that I really care about, not always in a great way. And I don't know why I expected it. I bet I just kind of expected them to just kind of, Elsie Rosen to just kind of look at that issue from like one side, but that didn't happen. It was so nuanced. There were no bad characters really in this. Like there were no like, it wasn't black and white. It was so complicated. All the characters were really kind of fleshed out. Yeah, I expected to adore this. I didn't expect to adore this as much. But they're both 5 stars for me. I'm not picking between them, and I would really like you to read both of them. Okay, what have we got next? Fantasy? Yes. So my next books that I'm going to talk about are all fantasy books. I have Summer to Hears, An Ember in the Ashes. I have Helen Oyoyemi's Gingerbread, and I also have, big surprise, Tracy Deon's Legendborn. I don't know if you know that I read that recently, but I did. In fact, I don't know if you know, but I did a book talk about it the other day. Link somewhere here. That's on my Kindle, so I'll fish that out. Let's begin with An Ember in the Ashes. I talked about this as well in my haul. I'm not really going to summarise this one because I did a piss poor job of summarising it last time, and also everyone knows about these books, I think. But you have Leia, who is... No! Don't start there. You have the Marshall Empire, which has kind of taken over this whole continent, which was originally populated largely by people called scholars. This is my understanding. I've only read the first book. Leia, one of the main characters, is a scholar. Her brother was arrested by the Marshall Empire, and so she gets in contact with the kind of local resistance against the Empire to try and help her brother, and they say, that's fine, sure, no worries, you have to do something for us, and they send her undercover at this very, very prestigious, very ruthless military academy, where Elias, someone tell me please, is a student. He's the top student, in fact, and so good at it that no one has any idea that he hates the Marshall Empire and he wants to defect. The two meet, their fates intertwine, things happen. Yeah, let's go with that. I really enjoyed this book a lot, I really did. I really liked the world building. I wasn't expecting to like the world building at all, because I don't really tend to enjoy things that are set in kind of like a Roman-y inspired world. I find they tend to be like quite derivative, and like they tend to miss like the most interesting things about the Roman Empire, and like for me personally, and then focus on things that I don't care about and are also kind of inaccurate, and using Latin doesn't make your world fantasy. When did that become a thing? It's a real language. Is this J.K. Rowling's fault? I loved the characters. I particularly loved Leia. Definitely will read the rest of the series. I didn't really feel like it. Like moving straight on to the second one after I got to the end of this one, particularly because there were like quite a lot of pacing issues for me personally. That, yeah, and I was just left feeling a little bit but yeah, it was good. It was good. The only thing I would say is it moves so quickly, and some things happen off screen, and you don't get that much time with the characters, that sometimes you can feel a bit kind of, what just happened? Did that just happen? Did I read about that? I don't know if I read about that. And also sometimes I felt personally like I hadn't. People who've read the book will know that what I'm talking about. There's this huge, very sad, painful thing that happens towards the end of the book, involving a lot of side characters, and I didn't feel like I'd necessarily built up the relationship with those side characters that I needed to have done in order for it to have like its fullest hit. I'd give this, I think I'd give this 3.5 stars, but I think that like the other books in the series I can see kind of scoring higher for me. I read Helen Oyeyemi's Gingerbread, and I'm going to tell you to Google this instead of ask me to summarise it, because the blurb is vague as hell, and I'm bad at summarising things. And also I've read this whole book, and I'm like, I know what happened, but do I though? Also, so I think Helen Oyeyemi is a genius. I think that her imagination is incredible, way of words is incredible, her way of nailing character is incredible. I think this book is a really, like, something to be really proud of. Also, oh my god, it did not end. It's not a long book. It is, in fact, it is the shortest of the books that I read this month, but it did not end. Like, it didn't end. It didn't end. Not because it's bad, not because it's boring, just because I think partly it's very, like, the writing is incredible, so you don't want to rush, you really want to savour it, and also it is so profoundly weird, like so weird, that it was full on, like I needed a break every kind of 25 pages, I needed to kind of go and stare at a wall. So I think it's incredible, and I think now that I know what happens and I know what the plot is, I'll reread it and I'll get way more out of it, because it is great. I'm like probably not giving you that impression, but it really is, it's a really great book. It just made time, you know, it just made time move at a different pace than it does normally. No big deal. It's a great book. It just, you know, controls the clocks. Anyway, so I'd give it, like, I think I'd give you 4 stars. A little bit creased. I think I'd give you, yeah, 4 stars. And then, in case you didn't know, and I don't know how you couldn't know, if you didn't know, I can only assume that you don't follow me on Twitter, and if you don't follow me on Twitter, why don't you follow me on Twitter? I'm so nice. I read Tracy Deon's Legendborn this month. I've already made 2 videos about that, so I won't talk too much about it now, other than to say, 1, it is a retelling of the King Arthur story, or not even really a retelling, like a repurposing? Recycling almost. Reduce, reuse, recycle. You don't really need to hear what I thought about it. I made a whole video about what I thought about it, so I'll just say it's 5 stars from me, and this is definitely my favourite fantasy novel that I read this month by a really long way. And then finally...
Why, hello, editing Claire here to say that for some reason unknown to anyone, I forgot to say what genre I was talking about in this last bit. I can only apologise. So for this last section of the video, I'm talking about horror fiction, and I only read 1 book, which was horror, and that was...
We have Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I've really got to say something about this book and not just like sigh lovingly. So main character Nomi is sent by her father to go and help her cousin Catalina, who's recently married into an English family and has become really, really distressed, really unhappy, and has written to Nomi's father saying that the family are trying to kill her. So Nomi goes to visit this house. She thinks it's going to be kind of a one and done, super easy. She's going to see her cousin, find a doctor, see what's what. How bad can it be? This book is creepy. This book is imaginative. It's got a high femme main character. What more could it possibly have to make me love it? It freaked me out so much in all the good ways. I should have just made a video about this book. 5 stars to Mexican Gothic. Would have been my favourite horror book even if I had read others, and is also just by far my favourite book I read this month. One of my books of the year. I love you. So that was my September wrap up. Mexican Gothic. Great. Exciting times. Still great, but not quite what I wanted. Creepy, high femme things, good. Cute, queer romances, good. Not finishing your book, bad. So, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, maybe you could hit like and subscribe. And what I'd like to know is, tell me in the comments what the best book you read this month was. I'm really excited to hear your answers. Like I said at the beginning, I upload bookish and writing content every Sunday and every other Tuesday, and the next video you see from me will actually be the start of my Vlogtober content, I think. So that's another thing that I'm going to be doing, which is exciting. And if you want to see more about that, you can watch my Get Ready With Me video. One more time, thank you so much. I loved making this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you soon. Bye!